We will start. This is the last lesson in Unit 1. It's called The Importance of Sunlight to Living Organisms. We will talk about the importance of sunlight to all living organisms. We can't live without sun, animals can't live without sun, and plants can't live without sun. Is it good now? My voice is good now, Hala? Okay. So we will start with the plants. What is the importance of sunlight to the plants? Okay. Plants need four things to live and grow. Again, to live and grow for plants, they need four things. First, they need the light from the sun. They need the light from the sun or the sunlight. And they need water and salts from the soil. Water and salts from the soil. They need also carbon dioxide from the air. Again, plants need four things to live and grow. They need sunlight, water, salts, and carbon dioxide. So when the plants take all of these four things, they start to make their food. Without any one of them, they can't make their food. Again, plants need these four things to live and grow, and they can't live or grow without any one of them. So they can't live without carbon dioxide, they can't live without sunlight, they can't live without water or salts. So for the last time, they take the light from the sun, carbon dioxide from the air, water and salts from the soil. This is the soil. Okay, and when they take these four things, could you stop talking in the chat? When they take these four things, they start to make their food. The process that plants make to make their food is called photosynthesis process. Photosynthesis process. Again, when the plants take these four things, sunlight, water, salts, carbon dioxide, they start to make their food. How do plants make their food? They make their food in a process. This process is called photosynthesis process. Photosynthesis process. So this is the name of the process that plants make to make their food. So again, what is the meaning of photosynthesis process? It means it's a biological process. A biological process happens in plants only. This process, the photosynthesis process, it happens in plants only. Why do plants make the photosynthesis process? To make their food. This is the process that helps them to make their food. And this food that the plants make, this food is made of sugar and starch. The food that the plants make is made of two things, sugar and starch. Okay, how do plants make this process? How do plants make their process? They make it by taking the four things that we said before, by taking sunlight, water, salts, and carbon dioxide. So when the plants take these four things, they start to make the photosynthesis process to make their food, which is made of sugar and starch. And at the end of the process, the plants produce or release the oxygen gas. So at the beginning of the process, they take carbon dioxide gas. And at the end of the process, they give or they produce oxygen gas. So they take carbon dioxide to make the photosynthesis, and at the end of the process, they give us oxygen to breathe. So without plants, we can't breathe or we will die, because if the plants didn't make the photosynthesis process, they will not produce the oxygen gas for us to breathe. So without photosynthesis, the plants will die and we will die, because that will be no oxygen. There will be no oxygen anymore. So again, what is the meaning of photosynthesis process? It is a biological process. Happens in plants only. Why? To make their food. And this food is made of sugar and starch. How do they make the photosynthesis process? They do it by taking four things. By taking sunlight, water, salts, and carbon dioxide. And at the end of the process, they produce or give oxygen gas. So what are the products of photosynthesis process? The products of photosynthesis process, it means the things that are produced from the photosynthesis process. At the end of the process, what do plants produce or what do plants give? They produce two things. So the products of photosynthesis process are two things. First, they produce the food. They made the food, which is made of sugar and starch. They made their food, which is made of sugar and starch. And the second thing is the oxygen gas that we breathe. So what are the products of photosynthesis process? There are two things are produced at the end of the photosynthesis process. First, the food of the plant that is made of sugar and starch, and the second thing is the oxygen gas that all the living organisms breathe. Okay. Then we have here a photo. This photo shows you two plants. Two plants. This is the first one. This one is covered. It's covered. And this is the second one, and it's uncovered. I want you to think what will happen to these two plants after few days. Again, we have here two plants. First one is covered and the second one is uncovered. I want you to think what will happen to these two plants after few days. Okay, after few days, this covered plant will die, but this uncovered plant will live and grow. So why? Because this one is covered, so the sunlight can't reach it. It can't take the sunlight, so it can't make the photosynthesis process. So it can't make its food, so it will die. It will turn into yellow color and it will die. But here, this plant is uncovered, so it will take the sunlight so easily. Then it will make the photosynthesis process and it will make its food. Then it will grow and live. So again, what will happen after a few days for these two plants? The covered plant here, the covered plant will be yellow and weak. Why? Because it couldn't take the sunlight, so it couldn't make the photosynthesis process, so it couldn't make the food, so it will die. But the second plant here, or the uncovered plant here, will stay green and strong. Why? Because it took the sunlight, so it made the photosynthesis process very easily by taking all of the things like sunlight, water, salts, and carbon dioxide. Then it will release or produce the oxygen gas for us, so it will live and grow. So again, the sunlight is so important for all living organisms. Without sunlight, the plants can't make the photosynthesis process, so they can't make their food, so the plants will die. And if plants died, all of the other living organisms will die, like we and animals. We will die too, because when the plants die, there will be no enough oxygen for all the other living organisms. So we and animals will also die. And all the animals feed on, or most of the animals feed on the plants. So that shows you the importance of sunlight. Guys, I said before, if you have any question, keep it when I finish. And every session, I answer all of your questions at the end of the session. Okay. So here, all the plants, all the plants are made of plant cells. We said that before, that the building unit of any plant is plant cell. So all of the plants are made of plant cells. And we said before that plant cells are characterized with something special, which is called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts, or it has another name, green plastids. Green plastids or chloroplasts. And we said, what is the job of chloroplasts, or what is the job of green plastids? We said that chloroplasts absorb or take the sunlight. They help the plants to take or absorb the sunlight. And when the plants take or absorb the sunlight, they will be able to make the photosynthesis process. And when they make the photosynthesis process, they will produce two products. The first one is the food that plants make, which is made of sugar and starch. And the second thing is oxygen gas that all the living organisms breathe. So again, we said that all of the plants are made of plant cells, plant cells. And we said that plant cells only contain chloroplasts or green plastids. What is the job of chloroplasts? They help the plants to absorb or take the sunlight. And when the plants take the sunlight, they start to make the photosynthesis process and produce two things: the food that is made of sugar and starch, and the oxygen gas that all of the living organisms breathe. This is the first part of this lesson, the importance of sunlight. So now I will wait for your answers. If you have any, wait for your questions. If you have any question, please press on the button of raising hands. Or if you didn't understand any part, just tell me to repeat it in another way. Yes, Mahran, I can hear you.
هو يا مس كان في الأول خالص كنت قلت يا مس إن في البلانت في الأول خالص اللي هما ليهم 4 حاجات عشان نعملوا photosynthesis process،
Yes.
بس انت قلتي 3. كم؟
The sunlight, number 1, sunlight. Number 2, water. Number 3, salts. Number 4, carbon dioxide.
Okay.
You have it on the screen. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it.
Number 1, light from the sun. Number 2, carbon dioxide from the air. Number 3, water from the soil. 4, salts from also the soil. Okay? Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Mahmoud Shams.
Okay, Miss. The plants are عكسنا.
In taking gases, you mean?
Yes, they take carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. We breathe in oxygen,
Oxygen
and get out. Yeah.
This is in making photosynthesis process only, but they breathe exactly like us. They breathe at night, they breathe exactly like us. They take oxygen like us and get out carbon dioxide. But at the day, they take carbon dioxide and give oxygen in the photosynthesis process only, to make the food only. But when they finish, they breathe exactly like us.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Miss,
مازن الطيب, yes.
the plant has tissues or no?
Sorry, Mazen, again.
The plant has tissues or no?
The plants have what?
Tissues like us? No.
No, I can't understand the words.
Tissues.
Tissues?
Yes.
Sure, yes. The plants, all the organs of plants, like root, stem, leaves, flower, these are the organs of the plants, and each organ of them consists of many tissues, and each tissue is made of plant cells.
Okay.
Okay. Ahmed Uta? Yes.
مس في تالت اللي في التالتة ديت.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
دلوقتي يعني البلانت اللي متغطية فيها نقط مفتوحة. ازاي بقى هتموت؟
It can't take enough amount of sun. All of the plant has to reach the sunlight. They have to take a large amount of sunlight. So if it has holes or no, it will die, because not all of the parts can take the sunlight. Okay?
مين؟
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Malak? Yes, I can hear you. Malak, where did she go? Mm. Malak, can you unmute yourself because I can't make it from here. Malak, Malak, can you unmute yourself? I can't unmute you. So, okay, if you want to ask me something, please write it for me in the chat and I will answer it because I can't unmute you.
Miss,
Yes, Malak, I can hear you. Yes.
okay. Why do plants need carbon dioxide?
Why do plants need carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
Because to make the photosynthesis process. They can't make the photosynthesis process or their food without the carbon dioxide gas. It's important in this process.
Like oxygen for us.
Yes, like breathing oxygen for us. Yes,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Okay, Huda, I can hear you. Yes, what's your question? Huda?
Miss.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the plants eat sugar. The sugar we eat it in anything.
No, no. The food that the plants make of sugar and starch, this is the food of plants. This is not
Not
the sugar that
sugar. We
we
eat it.
No, no, the sugar that we eat, we get it from the fruits.
Yeah.
But this food, which is made of sugar and starch, this is the food of plants.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question?
No, thanks.
You're welcome. Guys, if you have any questions, please just tell me. No questions? The lesson is so easy. Okay. I will go to the next part. Okay. Ahmed Udo. Yes, Ahmed. Do you want to ask? Ahmed, yes.
Miss,
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Miss, will you punish me for something I didn't do?
I will punish you for something what you didn't know.
Do
If you what?
will you punish me on something I didn't do?
You didn't do. How can I punish you for something you didn't make?
Because I didn't do my homework.
No, it's okay. This term, no punishment. You're so lucky this term. Okay, we will take another something so small, another so small part. It shows us the importance also of sunlight to all living organisms. First, you have to know that living organisms are divided into three types. Living organisms are divided into three types. The first one is called producers. Producers. The second one is called consumers. Consumers. And the third one is called decomposers. Decomposers. So again, the living organisms are divided into three types: producers, consumers, and decomposers. What is the meaning of each one of them? First, we will start with producers. Producers are living organisms that make their food by themselves. So the only living organism that can make its food by himself is plant. So the living organisms that can make their food by themselves are only the plants. Only the plants. Animals can't make their food by themselves because they feed on plants. And we as humans, we can't make our food by ourselves because we depend on plants and animals. So the only living organism that can make its food by itself is plants. So the producers are the living organisms that can produce or make their food by themselves through the photosynthesis process. So sure, producers are the plants. So the examples here for producers are green plants, algae, and some types of bacteria. Green plants, sure you know it. Any type of plants. What is the meaning of algae? Algae means the green plants that you can find in water, or the watery plants. The watery plants, or the plants that you can find in water. So they are also plants. So again, producers are the plants. Why? Because plants are the living organisms that can make their food by themselves in the photosynthesis process. Okay, what about the second group, which is called consumers? Consumers. Consumers are the living organisms that can't can't make their food by themselves, but they depend on another living organisms to get their food. So they can't make their food by themselves like producers, but they get their food from another living organisms. Like what? What are the examples of consumers? Like, for example, lions, cows, and cats. So why lions are consumers? Because they can't make their food by themselves, but here they get their food from another animals. Like lions here get their food from zebra or from deers. So they depend on another animal to get their food, not like plants. They make their food by themselves. Cows also depend on plants to make their food or to have food. So they can't make their food by themselves, but they take their food from another living organisms like plants. So cows are consumers. And cats also. Cats take their food from another living organisms like fish. So they can't make their food by themselves, but they depend on another living organism to get food. So all of the animals, not these three examples only, no, all of the animals are consumers because all of the animals get their food from another living organisms like plants or another animals. So all of the animals are consumers because they can't make their food by themselves, but they get their food from another living organisms. Okay, what about the third group, which is called decomposers? Decomposers. The decomposers are living organisms. They also can't make their food by themselves, but they get their food by decomposing the organic wastes. What is the meaning of organic wastes? Organic wastes means dead bodies. Dead bodies. They are living organisms, feed on dead bodies. Did you ask yourself before what happened to the dead bodies after death? Why after death, when we bury the dead bodies, after a while or after a few days, we find that the meat and the bones of the dead bodies disappear? Why did the bones and meat of dead bodies disappear? Where did it go? They disappear. The meat and bones disappeared because there are very, very small living organisms feed on it or ate it. They eat the dead bodies. These small living organisms are called decomposers. Decomposers. So the decomposers are living organisms feed on the dead bodies. And instead of saying dead bodies, we can say organic wastes. Organic wastes. So what are the examples of decomposers that feed on the dead bodies? Some types of bacteria. Some types of bacteria. This bacteria feed on the dead bodies. And some types of fungi. Fungi. Okay. For example, here, this is a type of fungi sorry, this is a type of fungus that causes the bread mold. This is bread mold. This is a bread after it got bad. It's called bread mold. Bread mold. Why the bread has this mold? Because of some types of fungi. So this is a type of decomposers. And this is also an orange mold. Orange mold. Also, it happens because of the decomposers that feed on dead bodies. Okay, guys, 2 minutes and the meeting will end. So when it's ended, please log in again. Okay, so again, the decomposers, they are living organisms. They also can't make their food by themselves. So how did they get their food? They got their food by decomposing or feeding on organic wastes or dead bodies. And the examples of them are some types of bacteria and some types of fungi, which cause the bread mold or the orange mold. Okay, so now, okay, are the decomposers, when you think in the decomposers that feed on the dead bodies, do you think that these decomposers are important in our life or no? Yes, sure, they are so important. If we think here, if there are no decomposers, if there are no decomposers, all of the dead bodies, all of the dead bodies will not disappear. So there will be no spaces, no enough spaces for new dead bodies. So the dead bodies number will increase, and the diseases that they cause will increase also, and we will not be able to get rid of these dead bodies. And we use some types of the bacteria of decomposers, we use some types of them in different types of industries, like yogurt. You know the yogurt? We make the yogurt by some types of bacteria, but useful bacteria, not bad bacteria. So if there are no